Ladies and gentlemen, sports fans alike, welcome to another edition of Bill Swerski Sports Talk Chicago, one of the couple, two, three best podcasts around. So sit back, grab yourself a cold one and a Polish sausage, park your keister in the French room, and listen to Bill Swerski Sports Talk Chicago.
In Chicago, you know that all sports rock. The Bears, Hawks, Bulls, Cubs, and Sox. Pick your favorite, you can choose, as long as the Packers lose. For everything you need to know, it's Bill Swerski Sports Talk Chicago. Bill Swerski Sports Talk Chicago.
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Bill's Swerski Sports Talk Chicago. This is your hosts, Alex and Sean. On this episode, we are going to be lamenting another terrible Bears loss, starting 0-2. We're going to be talking about the Cubs collapse and some Connor Bedard. But first, I'd like to thank our sponsor, the Rockford Ice Hogs. If you're not familiar with the Rockford Ice Hogs, they're the AHL minor league affiliate of the Chicago Blackhawks. What does that mean for you? You get to see the Stars of Tomorrow today at family-friendly, affordable prices. We are about a month away from the season starting, so make sure you head on over to icehogs.com, get yourself a hat, shirt, jersey, tickets, and more. Tell them Swerski Sports sent you. Oh, Alex, did you think anything different would happen today?
Not really, to be honest with you. Not really. I think I have to say something right off the bat. The final score in the Bears game was closer than the game really was.
Truth.
I mean, the Buccaneers controlled that game. You caught a few breaks where you were kind of in it. I mean, you had a really nice blocked field goal. You had Baker Mayfield completely overthrow one of the receivers down the sideline early. I think it was their first drive when we held them. But you got a little fortunate on a few plays, because I'll tell you what, if Tom Brady was under center, in prime Tom Brady, and Gronk was playing on that Bucs team, I think that score is a lot less manageable. Like, I think they're down big early, like they were the last time they played the Buccaneers.
I mean, I don't want to shit on Baker Mayfield. He actually played a pretty good game. Two good games in a row.
He did, but I mean, let's be real. Who's better in prime, Tom Brady or Baker Mayfield?
Oh, but facts. But the Tom Brady from last year without the weapons. This Baker Mayfield is better, but obviously, Tom Brady is infinitely better than Baker Mayfield. But yeah, Baker played a good game, and the Bears generated next to no pressure. I don't even know where to start with this game.
I think I know where to start.
It starts with Jaquan Brisker dropping an interception that he probably could have walked into the end zone.
Well, yeah, I mean that was a bad omen. I mean, it really, really was. And again, it was another situation where right off the bat you were getting them the third down and you couldn't get off the field. And you knew that today that was going to be a real problem because it's hot down there. So if you can't get off the field, and the more time your defense is on the field, they're going to get gassed quicker.
Yep. And you already have a thin defense that, doesn't need to get gassed because they're already gassed. And so right off the bat, you drop an interception where you probably return that. And then instead they have a long drive where they march down the field and luckily only kick a field goal. You follow that up with a really nice drive on your own, 75-yard touchdown drive. You're like, okay, things are looking good. And Tampa drives down after that. They get the field goal blocked. Okay.
Got the ball midfield.
We've got half a field. We score a touchdown here. We're really putting the pressure on them. And Matt Nagy starts calling plays. And you're like, Getsy's on his bullshit again. It's frustrating. And from there, I mean, you have Eberflus doesn't have this team ready to play. The training staff doesn't have this team prepared to play in hot weather. You have the offensive coordinator has coached. The best thing that Justin Fields does is run right now. It's the best thing he does. You coach that out of him, and then you don't dial up plays to take advantage of the weapons he has.
Let's keep throwing screens in a crucial drive when we have 90 plus yards to go.
When they know it's coming.
And they read it like a book.
Yeah, so then you've got a quarterback that's playing bad, an offensive line that's playing bad. You've got you're committing penalties. You've got a defensive line that absolutely can't generate pressure consistently. You can't stop the run. And you've got both of your starting safeties out. And right off, it's a recipe for doom. You lost by 10 points. It might as well have been a million.
And you go to Arrowhead Stadium to play Pat Mahomes next week.
Yep.
I have something I want to read because we need to talk about Justin Fields. We need to have serious conversations about Justin Fields.
Can I preface it before you say anything? I want to let you go, but I just want to preface it by saying we have dealt so far with Justin Fields with kid gloves because there's been so much trash around him between Matt Nagy's play calling, bad offensive line, no weapons. We have given him all the passes, and it's time to have a serious discussion about him. Go for it.
So let me preface this by adding the fact that we see the clear problems with Justin Fields are not progressing. They're not getting any better. Reading the pressure, reading the defense, anticipatory throws, it's not there. When he is trying to make something happen with his arm, it looks like slow as molasses processing stuff back there. It is not being processed fast enough. He's not reading the pressure. The anticipatory throws aren't there. To be a franchise quarterback, those are all things you need. We identified those as big things to work on. And guess what? They're not progressing at all. So let's add on top of that issue. You have all that stuff going on. We know he can run effectively, and we've seen some of the deep balls work very well. The touchdown pass to Chase Claypool was a laser. When he was actually throwing downfield, you saw in the first drive, he connected with DJ Moore, and you were able to connect to Chase Claypool late in the game to give yourself a chance. Those are the few things that worked. Now, I'm going to read something that James Fox said on Twitter because I think he nailed it. Justin Fields might ultimately not be good enough, but trying to turn him into Jared Goff doesn't make sense. The Bears' offensive coaching staff is a big problem. They've taken away Fields what is excellent at stopping and doing it intentionally. Just like you said, you have him as an elite runner and you're taking away his legs. You're taking away his legs, and it's like you're trying to turn him into a game manager. It is this franchise. They are soft and they are cowards. This team is cowardly. It continues to be cowardly, whether you're John Fox coaching or Matt Nagy or Luke Getsy and Matt Eberflus. It is cowardly. They are always trying to play things safe, whether it's in the draft, whether it's on the field, whether it's coaching. You're always trying to play it safe, and that doesn't work. You are intentionally taking away the best thing that he has right now because you're scared. You're scared, you're trying to coach things out of him, and you're scared because all you want to run are screens. You just run screen after screen. By the way, you're running screen passes. Screen passes all the time. Who is actually good at executing screen passes? Equanimeous St. Brown. And yet you opt for Velus Jones today, who did even get targeted once. I don't remember Velus Jones even being on the field today.
Yeah, he waved at the kickoffs when they went over his head and out of bounds.
Oh, I didn't even notice. Sorry.
Yeah, this coaching staff needs to take a long, hard look. Alan Williams wasn't there today. Matt Eberflus took the reins of coaching the defense, and he did the things that we've been screaming about. Call more blitzes. This team can't generate pressure. Teams are picking apart that soft zone. What you're doing is not working. And if you're a coach and you can't adapt to the players that you have, then you are a shitty coach. If you're like, well, this is the defense we run, we just don't have the players. So what are you going to do? Just go 0-17? Is that your plan? Because this is where you're at. You can't stop the run. You give up so many long third downs because of the soft zones. It's mind-boggling. You know, I'm not going to shit on Tyreek Stevenson because he didn't have a good game, but he does compete, and it's a rookie corner going against Mike Evans. Shit happens, you know. But I'm gonna shit all over Matt Eberflus because he's been in this league long enough, and he can't switch up what he's doing. Can't change things up. He does what he does. He's a one-trick pony. It's not working. Can't stop the run. Can't stop the pass. This team has all the makings of being a 32nd ranked defense again. You brought in, if you're Ryan Poles, you brought in a defensive head coach with a second-year quarterback, and you said, I'm going to give you a defensive coach. And when you do that, and then you have the worst defense in the league over 19 games, 19 regular season games, that's bad.
Very
That's bad.
It's awful. It's awful. We gave them all the passes last year. We gave it all last year. But you're 2 games in and you look worse.
Yeah, you look worse than you did last year, and last year you won 3 games. How is that possible?
I it's just a mess. It's an absolute, and the thing is you can't point at anything right now and say, hey, this is good, this is good, this is good. We just need to fix this, this, and this. You look at every aspect of this team and you just say, wow, there's very little you can say that you can redeem from I mean, it's not like you're like, hey, our offensive line's great. We just need to get the guy under center. Or, hey, the guy under center is playing great. We just need to get him some protection. That's what we've been trying to say. But, you know, right now it doesn't look like either is the case. You can't really say your defensive line is very good. And now you can't say that your secondary is looking great because everyone's getting hurt. And you don't have the depth to replace it. And I get that in a rebuild, you're not going to have that personnel, but we've lost 12 games in a row now going back to last year.
We haven't won since last October.
Yeah.
It's middle of September.
Our next game is going to be end of September, which, so the 20, whatever, what's next Sunday? I don't even, the 20, whatever. So that'll be coming on almost a year. And because you're probably not going to beat the Chiefs. So assuming that's a loss and that's 13 in a row, then next thing you know, you're going to be in October by your next game. You're really getting close to a full year since you've won. And again, last year we understood it. We understood it last year. We're not, the goal this year was not to tank. And this looks more like a tanking team than last year did. When you lost all those 1-score games and you said, you know what? Hey, that PI wasn't called against Chase Claypool. Equanimous St. Brown dropped a gimme move the chains pass. The defense just faltered like it did against the Cowboys. You look at all that stuff and you saw, okay, we can take this, and this away, and we can move forward thinking we need to fix it. Like, you can't take anything away right now. You just can't. Remember when we were excited about Roschon Johnson this morning, potentially getting more touches and doing some more?
Yeah, just didn't happen. I mean, let's look here. Khalil Herbert got 7 carries. Roschon Johnson got 4 carries. Your running backs got 11 carries today in a game that you didn't score 20 points. And, Getsy's play calling is just atrocious. It's when you see a drive work, instead of going, you know what, I'm just going to keep doing this until they stop us. You're like, no, I'm going to go to some dog shit Matt Nagy type plays. His designed runs are their jet sweeps with your quarterback to the short side. Why are you running a sweep to the short side with your running back? Let him drop back and run straight up the middle when he sees the pocket open up, where he's got the entire field to work with. It's every time he does that sweep with Justin Fields as a design run, it never goes anywhere.
Never works.
Never
works.
And, this coaching staff, Justin Fields is bad. He's playing bad. But this coaching staff is awful. And it's got to start from the top. You can't fix a major catastrophe. If your house has rotting floors and a leaky roof and a crumbling foundation, you don't start by putting new curtains up. You've got to fix the structural issues. This case, the coaching staff, we can't get new ownership. We're stuck.
Unfortunately,
we've got to be fingers crossed with our general manager. We've got to be, because that general manager's here for at least 4 or 5 more years. But your head coach and your offensive coordinator and your defensive coordinator, they are on the hot seat.
They have to be.
Matt Eberflus has to be headed home to Chicago going, man, could I get fired this early? Your offensive coordinator has to be thinking, can I get fired this early?
I mean, I'm going to ask this question. With Kevin Warren as the new president, how much leeway does he have to make calls with certain things?
If from my understanding, he doesn't have any say over football operations. He has control over finance type things.
So why is he why is he not the CFO? If you're president and CEO of the team, why are you being stripped of that power? Isn't the whole point to bring an executive with a sports background to help out with some of this stuff? You let Ted Phillips advise you for how many years? An accountant?
Because George McCaskey's, who knows what actually is happening? We don't know. We're not privy, and they won't tell us. But it was stated before that the general manager would report directly to George McCaskey, who is the chairman of the Bears. And did things change once they hired Kevin Warren? I don't know. It is top secret business over there. But the only thing we've heard publicly is George Halas told us that the general manager would report directly to him.
It all starts at the top. It all starts at the top.
Absolutely. Let's just look at the Chicago Bears front office. Do they have an organizational chart?
George McCaskey, in charge of all things, including the crayon supply.
It does not say. George McCaskey, chairman. Kevin Warren's president and CEO. Ted Phillips, senior advisor. Scott Hagel, SVP of marketing and communication. Karen Murphy, SVP, business strategy and CFO. Cliff Stein, SVP and general counsel. Blah, blah, blah. So those people are all under ownership and executives. Football operations. Ryan Poles, Ian Cunningham, Jeff King, Troy Koziel, Ashton Washington, David Dudek, Keith Earl, and Jake Ponekvar. I don't know. I honestly don't know how things are actually working, but they're not.
I
They're not
expect
working.
zero changes from Hallis Hall in terms of the coaching this season. I expect none, but that's not what I think should happen. I mean, how can you look at this and be okay with this? You know, the Giants came back and won from that huge deficit. It was looking like they were going to be the worst team in the league. Honestly, I think the Bears right now have the argument to be the worst team in the league.
I mean, it's not Washington. It's because what are they? Are they 2-0?
They've
Yeah, they're
won a
2-0.
game.
I think they're 2-0.
Because they won today, crazy game with the Hail Mary ending, but the Broncos didn't get the 2-pointers. So
it's not the Jets because that defense is stout.
hey, yeah, and they pulled out that week 1 against the Bills. Yeah,
they've got a really good running game and a stout defense. Today they got crushed by a Cowboys team who in maybe the best team in the NFC.
I'd still put the Eagles over them right now, but I mean they're up
Eagles,
there. They're
Eagles,
up there.
Eagles are not playing so hot. They won both games, but they're not. The Cowboys are just in cruise control.
Maybe they do end up being better. You never know. I mean,
they're
contenders for sure. I mean, no matter what.
Yeah. The Rams are better. The Giants came back and won. The Cardinals are putting up points with a nobody quarterback, Josh Dobbs. Falcons did something you couldn't do and beat the Packers. And you know what? I watched part of that game, and on paper, Love looked like he had a good game. But man, he folded like a house of cards when it mattered most.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when it mattered most, I guess, was playing against the Bears. But he didn't play well down the stretch when they needed him.
No.
The Chiefs and Jaguars are both better than you. Lions and Seahawks both better than you. Obviously, the Colts are better than you. Could maybe the Texans are worse? Possibly.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's maybe the Panthers.
I mean, there is no one you can say is infinitely worse than you.
There's nobody that definitively you can say is worse than you.
Right. I mean, it's kind of like you're tied with the absolute worst at best you're tied with the worst.
Yeah, I mean, are you the worst? Well, you can't prove that you're not the worst. So obviously you're in that conversation, which makes you right there.
Exactly.
This is a bad football team. This is a bad football team. Can you turn things around? Yeah, it's the NFL. Things can turn around. But I mean, we saw a marked improvement last year when they just turned Justin Fields loose and we're scoring 30 points a game. That's the only way you're going to win. And we talked about, hey, we know we're not going to be able to stop the run or generate a lot of pass rush. But if we can, I mean, honestly, if you can score points, and start turning the other team into one-dimensional, because right now they just can run the ball. They get a lead. There's nothing you can do. You're going to shoot yourself in the foot, and then they're going to run the ball, and you can't stop the run. Your best option is just flooring it on offense, trying to score a lot of points. Don't do cutesy plays. Just go out there and do the things you know you've been successful doing. If you're not successful at things, I watched that Cowboys game. That Cowboys team ran like so many screen passes, but you know what? They did it successfully.
Because they know how to execute. They have the personnel to do it, and they know when to do it, how to do it.
We can't do it. We talked about in the preseason. Oh man, maybe they figured it out. No, we didn't. We didn't figure it out. Take it out. When you see plays aren't working, just take them out of your playbook. Just take them out. That's what Getsy doesn't understand. He's goddamn stubborn. Stop it. Stop it. This coaching staff is going to be like, what are we going to do with these players? Do you not own mirrors? When you go into the film study, do you look and go, man, I'm a terrible head coach. I'm a terrible offensive coordinator. I'm a terrible defensive coordinator. Do those things ever cross their mind? Like,
Sure doesn't seem like it.
If you want your players to play better, you have to coach better.
But Matt Eberflus says he saw improvements this week.
What? Because they didn't get blown out at home? They got blown out on the road? Like,
I guess it's progress.
I'm just frustrated. Just frustrated.
It's you know what's really sad? I'm at like week 14 levels of typical Bears apathy.
Yes,
when
week
it's
2.
Yes, exactly. It's week 2. Your secondary's injured like it's week 14, and the apathy is settling in like it's week 14. Feels like we're entering December, and you're well out of the playoff picture, and you're playing a meaningless game at home against, I don't know, like the Jaguars or something. It just doesn't mean much. Like that's the level of apathy I'm at.
It's so frustrating. And, this time last year, we were 1-1. And we beat the 49ers, who are a really good team. But we're coming off of getting our asses kicked by Green Bay again. And you had to feel a lot better about yourself, even though you got your here. Okay. But man, let's see. Our last win came October 24th.
Against the Patriots.
Yep. The win before that was September 25th. So when we don't win against the Chiefs, it'll be over a year. In over a year, we'll have won one football game, one regular season football game in over a year.
Yeah. That's sad.
It's really sad.
We are the new Detroit Lions. This would be typical of like the pre-Dan Campbell Lions. When I was a kid, this is what looking at the Lions in the NFC North standings was like every year.
Or before that, the Cleveland Browns.
Them too.
Like those organizations that just can't get out of their own way.
And you can count on one hand how many wins you have over like a year. And I don't mean just a season. I mean like 2 seasons.
And when the Cubs had this reputation of just being a loser organization, what did it take to change?
They sweeping everything away.
They changed ownership.
Yeah.
New ownership, new regime, new facilities, invest. this team has stagnant ownership that's not changing. So you bring in a general manager, and then you already start off with handcuffing him by telling him he gets to pick the head coach out of the list of coaches that you have already predetermined have to be hired from. So he hires a terrible one. I don't remember who the list was, but there was that predetermined list of people that the search committee with Soup and Tanisha that they whittled down, and he got to pick from that list. And he picked a defensive coach that pretty much none of us wanted. And now here we are. This team can't rush the passer. This team, we had $130 million, and we didn't fix the offensive line. We didn't fix the defensive line.
No, let's give all the money to linebackers. And honestly, it's not like Tremaine. You barely remember he's even on the field right now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to shit on them, but you didn't fix the offensive defensive line.
Remember what Ryan Poles said in his introductory presser? What did he say? We're going to beat you in the trenches. And yet, where's the investment? Lucas Patrick?
Look at the heart and soul of that really good Jets defense. It's Quinnen Williams. That guy is an unstoppable force. Today he was going up against a 6-time Pro Bowl guard, and he just beat him like a rented mule. They gave that guy money, and he earned it. He went out there and said, all right, well, I'm going to kick some ass today. And, his team got their ass kicked, but he played well. He drives that defense. And you look at Aaron Donald, you look at, stout defenders that change the way this defense plays. Justin Jones is not the guy.
No. It's not even close. Not even close. And you couldn't tackle today.
Oh my God, the tackling was abysmal. So many missed tackles, and not just today, last week too. So many missed tackles.
It was shocking seeing Yannick Ngakoue, a real good tackler, just completely whiff on Baker Mayfield that one play. You know what play I'm talking about.
Yep. It's mind-boggling. You're just like, how can you, this is what you preach, your hits principle. I don't even know. Your hustle. Are you hustling? No. Intensity? Nope. Takeaways? Oh, definitely not. Playing smart? Nope. You got 4 principles in your hits principle. You're not doing any of them. Not doing any of them.
I don't want to use the word soft necessarily, because I think that it's kind of a childish term, but this Bears team on either side of the ball can never just outmuscle you. Like, my biggest issue, and I'm going to touch on both sides of the ball. I'll start with offense. When you watch Cole Kmet, he's best when he gets separation and he's wide open. But if he's surrounded by defenders, you see other tight ends out-muscle guys. And Cole Kmet is huge, but he can't do it.
He never
out-muscle guys.
He outweighed the defensive back by like 60 pounds last week and got out-muscled in the end zone. I mean, sure, it was pass interference, but that it didn't get called, and he got out-muscled.
Yeah, and look at defensively. How many times do we see the line get bowled over? Just if you had a one-on-one, the person on the opponent is beating these guys physically. It's just frustrating because it feels like the Bears rarely have those guys lately. I mean, sure, when you had Khalil Mack, nobody could stop Khalil Mack in 2018. And when, Akeem Hicks was good, but outside of those few guys, it's more and more of the same. You can't, because part of out-muscling guys is tackling properly. And we don't see that. Guys are able to slip through and out-muscle you to slip through. So
but not only is these missed tackles, it's how many blown coverages have we seen?
Well, that too.
In 2 games. It's these guys don't know where they're supposed to be. Who is that on? That is on the coaching staff. Your team does not know where they're supposed to be. They don't trust each other, and they don't know where they're supposed to be. And I'm going to say Eddie Jackson has been a bust this year. Last week, he stunk. He stunk. Dan Hampton summed it up. I don't always agree with these old players that are curmudgeons and, shout. But Dan Hampton was right. Eddie Jackson is playing like a clown. And then he wasn't playing well today before he injured his foot. He's a clown. Plain and simple. Not a good football player. Jaquan Brisker is not playing like the guy that played last year.
I'm very, very disappointed in his play so far. Very disappointed. I expected so much better. Very, very disappointed. And I think that we're probably seeing the end of the Eddie Jackson era here, right?
Oh yeah, there's no way.
That's coming to a close.
There's no way he's on this team next year. None. He's gone. He can't stay healthy. When he is healthy, he's not playing well.
Just a shame. Those first 2 years in the league, he was so good. It's just too dang bad.
I want to quickly go through this abysmal history of Bears offensive coordinators.
Oh dear. It's just like quarterbacks.
It really is. Luke Getsy. His record as offensive coordinator with the Bears, 3-15. Prior to that, Bill Lazor. Did you even remember Bill Lazor? Or did you completely forget about Bill Lazor?
I forgot about him, and then you mentioned him. I'm like, oh yeah, we had all those debates whether to let Bill Lazor call the plays or Baldy Guru Egghead Nagy.
Do you remember who the coordinator was before Bill Lazor? Still under Matt Nagy.
Wasn't Brad Childress part of the offensive?
He was like an assistant, not an assistant. He was like a
advisor. Okay. But he wasn't, I know he wasn't the OC. Yeah. I'm just trying to remember.
Mark Helfrich.
I honestly forgot.
Before that, Dowell Logans.
Dowell Logans. That's a name I haven't heard in a while.
Would you like to know what Dowell Logan's record was as offensive coordinator with the Chicago Bears?
No, go ahead.
Throw a number out at me. It was 8-24.
Was he there the final 2 years of Fox?
Yes.
Because the one before that was Adam Gase. He was actually pretty good.
Well, just by our standards.
But okay, I'll give Adam Gase this. He made more with what we like, because that 2015 team was very lack of talent. Very, very, very lack of talent. And I was impressed with what he did with what he had. I'm not saying he was a genius, but he was arguably the best one we've had in a decade.
So he was here 1 year as offensive
Right.
coordinator.
Because then didn't was it the Dolphins that hired him to be their head coach? Or was it the Jets?
The Jets, I believe.
Okay.
Because remember he did the googly eyes?
Right. Yes.
Prior to that was 2 seasons with Aaron Cromer.
Which sounds a lot like Eric Kramer.
And then before that was 1 year of Mike Tice. And then was 2 seasons of Mike Martz.
Everyone's favorite.
And this was not Mike Martz orchestrating the greatest show on turf. This was
no.
end of career Mike Martz, where he thought he was God's gift and he was terrible.
Hey, I don't think Greg Olson fits our system. Let's trade him for packing peanuts.
Before that was Ron Turner, who was making his second stint as Bears offensive coordinator. And before that was 1 season of Terry Shea, and then a couple of seasons of John Shoup.
What year was Terry Shea again?
2004.
Wow, that does go back.
Then before John Shoup was 2001 to 2003.
And that was who were some of the quarterbacks back there? Wasn't Miller a quarterback at the time? And then you had Cordero Stewart.
Who was, let's see, 2000, you would have had Jim Miller.
Yeah.
Anthony Thomas was running back. Marty Booker. Trying to think of what other quarterback. Henry Burris. Chris Chandler.
Chris Chandler. That's who I was trying to think of.
Yeah. So then so that was the John Shoup era. Before that was Gary Croton. I don't remember him. He was 99 and 2000.
Yeah, I was a little kid at that point.
Matt Cavanaugh before that. And then before that was Ron Turner the first time. Before that was Greg Landry. And that was the 89 through 92 seasons. So it has been just abysmal. It's never guys that are like, oh, afterwards they went on to be great head coaches. Or no, it's just we have bottom feeders. We hire people that are bad at their jobs.
Did you see the tweet I had the other day where I said basically the Bears never have top guys that other teams seek after?
I didn't, but it's fact.
Man, I wish we had the Bears coaching staff. You never hear that. Who looks at the Bears coaching staff and wants that? The most we've gotten out of that in recent years was Vic Fangio. That's about it.
And he's with the Dolphins right now, who statistically have the worst defense in the NFL. Let that sink in.
The Bears coaching tree, there isn't one.
There is no Bears coaching tree.
The Bears coaching tree is a twig that fell over in the park.
It's just a stump. Old stump.
What a sad state of affairs.
Yeah, it's just really pathetic. And I don't know what you do here. I mean, it's got to start with does Ryan Poles pull that coaching staff in and lay into them? Like what does he do? Clearly his staff is coaching like shit.
You could use the, hey, we talked it over, we reevaluated, and it's just gonna be blowing smoke up our butts.
It's if nothing changes. I mean, let's try to be optimistic here, and not that we should be, but I'm just saying is let's go best case scenario. What is realistic for this team to to get better? Where is it realistic? In my mind, it's the offense performing like they do, where you go, Justin Fields, if you don't look at your first two reads and it's nothing there, run and make
Mm-hmm.
things happen with your legs and take deep shots down the field and let him just play loose football. And he plays like those couple drives from today and like that 6-week stretch from last year. And you can put up 25 to 35 points a game. That's your defense is not really getting better.
No, I mean, how are you gonna make that better? Honest to God,
Your best is you start wrapping up and tackling better. That's really all you can do. Tackle better, less penalties. It's going to be the offense that's going to have to carry you. I mean, I feel so stupid going in to the season and thinking that they could do something better. They can't.
you basically have to pray you get lucky. That you pray you get a few breaks, a deflected pass that goes for a big pick six, or a blown coverage that allows you to do something. It's like you're praying to get lucky to have a chance.
And it's just frustrating because there's not a lot of places where, you look, if you look at other teams that are not doing well, you're like, oh, hey, we can do this, we could do this and make things better. This Bears team, they're going to get cooked next week.
Yeah.
Because not only suddenly it's going to be a get right game for the Chiefs, because the Chiefs are 1-1 and they don't look good. But they're going to suddenly
yeah.
all the wide receivers that the league's been shitting on and laughing about because they drop everything, they are going to start making miracle one-handed catches, behind the back catches. There's going to be blown coverage and they're going to score a big touchdown. It's going to be a get right game.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? You might see that one thing where the Bears kind of hang in there for a while, and then in the second half, it all just.
But I don't expect things to turn around next week at all. But they've got games that in theory are winnable. Not next week, but let's see. Let's pull up their schedule.
I mean, this game was supposed to be, quote, winnable.
It should have been. It really should have been. And I'm not saying that they're going to. I'm just saying the games, like, you're not going to beat the Chiefs.
Right.
Could they beat Denver?
Maybe.
Probably, maybe. Denver, I mean, Denver's not good, but they're better than the Bears. I was like, oh, chuck Washington up. But Washington is playing really well. Minnesota, Vegas, the Chargers. Here's where you're like, okay, the Saints don't look good. Carolina doesn't look good. All right, those are two games there. But then Detroit, Minnesota, Detroit, Cleveland. All right, Arizona's not good. Atlanta's not that good. Then you go to Green Bay. Like, where are they going to get better?
You don't really see much opportunity for it.
Your bye week isn't until week 13. So it's not like you get an early bye. The year we need the early bye to shake things up is we get it late.
And usually we get it early, it feels like.
Yeah, we always do. We need it this year. Nope. So, uh, it's just tough spot.
It really is.
But you know what? We're on pace to get the number 1 and number 2 picks right now.
Woo! Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be really, really something?
God. I remember when the Colts had the number 1 and the number 2 overall picks in 1992. And they drafted Quentin Coriat and Steve Empman. Do you remember either of those two?
Nope.
Because they both stunk. They knew they had the number 1 pick and number 2 pick. And they blew both of them.
Mm-hmm. Don't put those thoughts into my head. If we get the number 1 and 2, they're already in there. I can't blame you.
It's just really frustrating. It's just really, really frustrating. And I don't see things getting better. They have to do some soul searching and figure out how they're going to stop the run. How are they going to keep the offensive from just looking like clown shoes?
Wah, 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 wah. It's gross. It's ugh. It's like we can't talk about anything redeemable about this.
No, there's
any
nothing.
Of these first 2 games.
No,
there's nothing there.
What's even worse is we had a guy taking up an active roster spot today that only returns punts, and he made a boneheaded play.
For a second, I thought he turned that over.
Yeah, I mean, it was very close. And it was like, what a boneheaded play. That's the only reason he's here, the only thing he's here to do, and he didn't do it. So why even have him? He should be gone. Just jettison him. Peace.
Yep.
Should we go on to the Bears? I mean, the Cubs.
I guess.
That team is playing abysmally. We're on a 4-game losing streak.
2-8 over the last 10. You lost a series to the frickin' Rockies. You almost got swept.
Yeah.
We were riding high after that giant sweep. If we lose tonight, we're on the outside looking in. And now there's no more room for error. It's gone.
Yeah. Our chances of making the postseason dropped from 90% to 50-something%.
Just like that, blink of an eye. Just like that. And you lost your closer. You lost Fulmer again. Nick Madrigal, who's been great at third, is now hurt. Dansby Swanson looks exhausted. This team just looks like it's running out of steam. And I don't want to be as mad about it. I'm just really sad. If we came all this way to lose out on the postseason, listen, you can look at this season no matter what with growth and be like, okay, you took a step forward, you played competitive into September, yada, yada, yada. But if it ends if it ends with you losing out on the postseason when it looked like you were all but assured a spot in October, that is going to leave a real sour taste in your mouth.
Yeah, and it's you're like, oh, the we're ahead of the Marlins. The Marlins are playing the Braves. Should be good. No, Marlins just beat the Braves 16-2 today.
They swept them.
Yep.
The Reds are winning again. They're winning games again. The Giants, we thought they were dead last week. Here they
Nope.
are.
2 games out. 2 games
And
out.
and not only are you not playing good, but you are not catching any breaks.
Nope. And you're
You're
losing today. You're losing today.
you gave up the tying run when you were one strike away on Saturday night because the ball deflected off freaking Hayden Wesneski. The Diamondbacks have taken advantage of every single break they've gotten. They've beaten you by inches in several games.
Yep.
It has made me come to despise that team. Just they've always been, quote, snake bit by the Diamondbacks, pun intended. Everything bad happens in that stupid ballpark, and I should have no reason to dislike the Diamondbacks. None. But the way they're a thorn in our side, it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. And listen, the Diamondbacks are in this race too. They're right there with us. It's not like they're a bad team. Losing 2 or 3 to the Rockies? That can't happen. How all these high ERA pitchers you struggle against. The offense is broken. It's broken. And you hope that tonight they can break out of it or anytime during the rest, because over the past week or so, this offense is broken. They have had so many opportunities. How many times in this series and the last series against the Rockies, look at all the base runners they have. And they have so many opportunities to break games open, but they never do. Yesterday in extra innings, you had Nico Horner score with a runner on third, and you couldn't get that other runner in. And when you settled for one, you knew that wasn't going to be enough, being the team on the road in extra innings. And what happened? We saw exactly what happened. It's so frustrating, and it's just sad. I don't want this season to end like this.
No, but I mean the way they're playing, it's
not very encouraging.
They're what are they gonna do in the postseason?
I don't care about listen, if they got to the postseason and just lost, I just wanted to be there. Because you could say, hey, big step, we made it to the postseason. Listen. This isn't a World Series team. I don't think this is even a playoff series win team. But how good would it at least feel to go from being bottom irrelevant to at least playing some extra baseball beyond 162? You can hang your hat on that. You can hang your hat on a lot of things going into next year no matter what, but if it ends very sour, it's going to leave that sour taste in your mouth for a little bit during this offseason. Time will go on. Things will heal. You look forward to the future. You keep building on what you have, but it'll definitely leave a sour taste in your mouth.
And so today, it's not looking good. But you've got 4 series left after today. 4 series. One against Pittsburgh, one in Chicago, one against Colorado in Chicago. Then you spend the last 6 games on the road to Atlanta and Milwaukee.
You kind of hope. I mean, you hope that Atlanta and Milwaukee have everything clinched and put together, and they kind of, quote, take it easy. But I mean,
well, Milwaukee's not going anywhere. They're where they are. They're going to win the division.
Right. They're not going to go anywhere else beyond that.
Yeah, they're so far behind the Dodgers and Atlanta.
Yeah, that's not possible.
They're not going to catch them. So, they've got nothing to play for. Atlanta will have nothing to play for probably. The hope is that you find that fire and come back home and say, hey, listen, we're going to start winning some baseball games, and guys put on their big boy pants um and sweep the Pittsburgh Pirates and sweep Colorado.
You don't have a choice. Like, you have to win like all those games at this point. Like, you don't have a choice to even have it, because if you do lose tonight, you don't control your own destiny anymore. You're on the outside looking in.
Yeah. Yep. Well, aren't you, if you lose tonight, aren't you tied with Miami?
Yeah, but they have the tiebreaker.
Oh, do they?
Yes.
Okay. Then yeah, you don't control your destiny. So, um, oof.
It's these teams, man. It's like they were able to squeak out a series against the Braves. You were able to win 5 out of 6 against the Giants. You were able to win a series in Los Angeles. You beat the Rays in a series 2 out of 3. It's these damn Marlins and Diamondbacks teams that give the Cubs the most fits, it seems like. It's these good, not excellent teams that just are pesky and annoying. Those are the teams that the Cubs just can't beat.
And what
Or the
sucks,
frickin' Rockies.
is the Marlins got 3 against the Brewers coming up next weekend, and we're gonna have to root for the Brewers because we can't catch the Brewers. We have to
Yeah,
root for them to beat the Marlins.
right. Yes. Yes.
So
Sean, after last night's loss, I kind of prepared myself for the worst because I just kept trying to say, we just need one win to get us back on track. We just need that loss Saturday night felt deflating. And so we see what happens tonight. You either stop the bleeding or the bleeding continues. It just that loss felt very symbolic of what's happened. You can't come up with the big inning, and you play with fire. They've played with fire. And you know what? They played with fire a lot when they were winning. And maybe it just shows that there was some regression due. It's been a weird season because I think there were times, stretches they greatly underperformed. And, that crazy record for much of the second half, maybe you could argue they overperformed a little bit and they got away with a few things. And it's kind of coming back to earth. I'm not saying that this team is bad, but maybe this truly it's just evening out to what they are. I don't know. Remember all those close, tight games they were winning?
yep.
Remember how much energy they kind of had to expel to win those games? You almost felt like, okay, if you keep playing games like this winning at this rate is not going to sustain itself.
And you look at what these other teams that the Cubs are competing against right now, what they have going for them. Miami has a series against Pittsburgh to end it. And that Pittsburgh team is bad. And then they've got 6 against the Mets, who are not playing well. Brewers are the only tough opponent they have, and it's in Arizona. In Miami. Arizona, they've got less games to play than everybody else. They also have 3 days off for the rest of the season. So they get 2 against the Giants, which that's what has me not worried about the Giants because they've got a tougher schedule here, and but you've got 2 against the Giants. You've got a day off tomorrow, day off on Thursday. Then you go 3 against the Yankees, 3 against the White Sox. And the White Sox are, doo-doo sandwich. And the Yankees are meh. They're not playing very well. They're not going to make the postseason. Then you get the Astros, who are going to be, you get a day off Then you got the Astros at home. Astros have nothing to play for. Because they can't catch. They're kind of in a similar spot as the Dodgers. They can't catch the team ahead of them. They're not going to get caught by the team behind them. So what do they have to play for?
Right. They just want to get ready for the postseason.
Mm-hmm. So you've got, extraordinarily winnable schedule plus 3 days off. And then you got the Cubs. And the Cubs have 2 winnable series, 2 really tough series. But, you look at the day off schedule and just I don't know. I'm not hopeful. I know I'm going to be a negative Nancy, and they're gonna have to win some ball games here. But you got 2 days off, so you get tomorrow off, then 2 straight series, and then a day off, and then 2 straight series, 6 games, and that's all on the road.
And it's 3-2 right now, going to the top of the 6th. So you need to make something happen.
Yeah,
just for God's sake, give me a big inning. Hit the ball out of the freaking park. The power's gone. It's like the Cubs rely on getting hits by just hitting weak grounders where you hope it finds a hole or you can beat it out. But the power is gone. The only home runs you've hit in the past few days were in garbage time the other night. That's it. Look at Coors Field. Morel hit a home run. Suzuki hit a home run. Did anyone else? I don't think so. Man. Ball go far, team go far. And listen, Cody Bellinger has been rough the past few games, but you know what? He has saved our ass this entire season. It's time for somebody else to step up big.
Yeah, somebody has to. Somebody has to step up.
Are we here? Truly? Are we just here because Cody Bellinger was playing out of his mind? Dansby Swanson needs to be better with runners in scoring position. He was good at that earlier in the season, but not lately. So does Ian Happ. So does everybody.
I mean, how bad Swanson has been lately. Is he injured? Is he playing through some sort of nagging injury? What is going on?
I can't help but think something's bothering him. But unfortunately, the other bald man won't, you can make this argument for a number of players that need a breather. But, Canario is one stinking at bat in his entire, which is pathetic and inexcusable. It is disgusting mismanagement by David Ross. I have been one of the bigger defenders of David Ross, but this handling of Canario is disgusting. That the players' union should file a grievance. I know that's not realistic, but sorry, I had to get that off my chest.
It is frustrating. It's really frustrating.
You are putting in Miles Mastrobuoni in games over him. Last night you played 13 innings. You used everybody known to man but Canario. Canario hits for power. I need to get that off my chest.
I mean, it's rightful to question that. It's, what the hell is going on?
I don't know. At least Jordan Wicks has been pretty good. Grinded one out tonight. 3 runs. What was it? 4 1/3. Had a lot of traffic early on, but he was able to grind through it. Can't ask much more from a rookie.
Yeah, he's grinding. I'm not mad about it.
Hey, he had a great start in Colorado. Really impressive stuff there. I'm very impressed with him so far. He's really got composure. It's hard to be mad at most of the starting pitching when your team can't hit in the clutch again, like earlier in the season. And, with the bullpen's tricky. losing Albert Alzolay is a big blow, and you kind of have to shuffle things around. And I think the bullpen, like they did a great job through those 13 innings. Like, give credit to Drew Smiley. Out of the bullpen so far, he's been pretty dang good.
And
Marcus Stroman coming out of the bullpen, that was huge.
yeah,
Julian Merriweather's looked good. You're kind of doing the best you can there. To me, it's the lack of the clutch hitting. It's the horrific, stupid base running. And it's just some of the fundamental stuff is just, it's not looking clean.
when are we going to see a Stroman start?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying not to get too mad about the Cubs, but it's really disappointing to see it go down like this.
It makes you think back to earlier in the season. So many botched games that you should have won that would you wouldn't be in this spot.
Like batting Eric Hosmer fifth as your DH, or all those times you started Miles Mastrobuoni when he was better suited as a bench 26-man type player. Continuing to let Trey Mancini play at first base.
David Ross doesn't deserve to be back next year. Do you agree?
I think they can do better.
I think they have to do better.
But they're not going. He is not going anywhere.
I don't think so. He should.
He is not going anywhere. Am I as big of a hater as other people? No, but to me, I see at best the replacement level manager at best. I don't think he's the worst, but man, I would love to get Craig Counsell, but he's probably going to join his buddy David Stearns in New York. So, do I think they could do better? Yes. Do I think they should pounce to do better? Yes. Are they going to? No. Unfortunately, this feels very Bears to me with the coaching. Whereas Theo Epstein, he brings in Rick Renteria, but the second Joe Mann becomes available, jumps on it. Is that going to happen? I don't think so. I don't think there's going to be a situation there. As long as he's under contract, he's going to be here. This looks broken right now. It really looks broken.
All I can do is just sit back and fingers crossed. I mean, a win tonight is huge. It's huge.
Yeah.
Because here's the two extremes. The good extreme, you come back today from down 3-2, you come back and then that puts you a game and a half up on one game up on the Marlins and a game and a half up on Arizona. And then you sweep the Pirates and take 2 of 3 from the Rockies, or 2 of 3, you win 5 of 6 those next games. And then at that point, you've really got a padded record where the pressure is on everybody else to be perfect. And you go 500 against the Braves and the Brewers, and it just puts enough cushion that they can't catch up, and you coast into this. The other extreme is you continue what's happening tonight, you lose, you don't control your own destiny, you take the day off, and you lose, you go 1-2 against the Pirates, 1-2 against Colorado, and now you have to come in and sweep the Braves and sweep the Brewers to go for this. And that's when the pressure mounts and you start making bad mistakes, bad base running, guys stress pitching, giving up big hits, and you get blown out in some of those games. And those are the two extremes.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Can we get a refund on our Chicago sports fandom?
Right. I saw somebody posted, they were like, I'm gonna do I know any lawyers? I'm gonna sue my dad for making me a Bears fan.
I saw that tweet.
It's like, God, it's we just have nothing. The White Sox are in a terrible spot because they are not close to winning, but they're not close to rock bottom yet either. The Cubs have wasted a season where if they would have figured a few things out early on and made some aggressive moves early on, they're not in this, and they're 100% going to the playoffs. The Bulls are going to they're going to be meh.
Meh, exactly. Meh.
They're going to be right around the last playoff spot / best team in the lottery. That's where they're going to be. The Bears stink. We're looking number one pick again, back-to-back years. And brings us to Blackhawks. It's the one thing we have.
And they're not even going to be good per se, but Connor Bedard is really exciting, and a lot of these prospects are really exciting. You saw that hat trick that he scored in the prospect game, right?
Yeah, he looks so good. He just looks so good. It doesn't look fair. It's like cheat mode.
That second goal he had, he deked by and just roofed it along the side of the line. That was thing of beauty.
Is that the one where he was just coasting back and just waiting for the hole to open up and just dink? Is that the one?
Yes.
Oh my God. It was beautiful. You're just like, what are you going to do? He's there and there's nothing you can do if you're that goalie. You're just like, okay, I can't cover every one of these holes. So I've got to pick which one's going to be the hardest for him to hit. It doesn't matter because he's going to hit him any of them.
He might be the saving grace of this city right now. If the Cubs don't make the because listen, if the Cubs are able to get a postseason berth, no matter what happens, I think we could say, okay, we feel pretty good about that at least. But if the Cubs don't, then truly the saving grace is Connor Bedard.
Yeah. So you go in, you're the Blackhawks, and you go into the prospect showcase against the Blues, and you just whitewash them.
Mm-hmm.
5-0. Your star goes out there and shines. He comes out there and shines.
You love to see it.
And you had, you had a lot of players playing well. It's a good time to be a Blackhawks fan. You come out of the woodworks again. It's this team is looking brighter. And my hope is that Connor Bedard elevates everybody around him. It's a lot to put on an 18-year-old, but it's what we're doing.
Yeah, and to the credit, I think, of the Blackhawks too, is if they can have more than just one success story here, landing Connor Bedard, they are considered like the second best farm team in all of hockey. And it's not just top heavy because you have Connor Bedard. You have a number of guys. I mean, Korchinski continues to grow. We're going to see Lucas Reichel have a full season here. I mean, there's a lot of guys to keep your eyes on here. And if Connor Bedard is the star and these prospects are developing, and you just get a good, smart, gritty team, even if you're not going to win a lot of games, if you see all that stuff happening, we're going to enjoy the season, more than we did last year, the past few years.
Yeah. You had today's game where Kevin Korchinski looked really good.
He's probably your second best prospect, I think, right now. He's got to be at least top 3, I would think. I want to see what some rankings are. Let's see, Blackhawks top prospects. Obviously, number 1's Connor Bedard. That's, here's Bleacher Nation Blackhawks. Here is their list. Number 1, Connor Bedard. Number 2, Kevin Korchinski. I mean, that's fair, right?
Yeah, it's fair.
Number 3, Oliver Moore, who you also drafted this year, 19th overall. He fell to you, which was a miracle. Lucas Reichel, number 4. Frank Nazar, number 5. Ethan Del Mastro, number 6. Ryan Green, number 7. Alex Vlasic, number 8. Isaac Phillips, number 9. And Aiden Thompson, number 10. 11 is Colton Dock, Kirby Dock's brother. Wyatt Kaiser, who we saw play the prospect game with a C on his chest, number 12. Gavin Hayes, 13. Sam Renzel, 14. And 15, Arvid Soderblom, who I think should get a majority of the starts in net to see what you have this year in him.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
Like, Peter Mrazek, what are you going to gain with playing him, an aging veteran back there? Have him be the veteran backup. Let Arvid Soderblom get a majority of the starts.
Yeah, I mean, it's I'm always of the fan. Play your youngsters. If this is not a season where you have playoff aspirations or championship aspirations, play your youngsters.
Right. And I mean, listen, you're going to have your moments where even with the youngsters, even with Connor, but I mean, you're going to see some growing pains. That's all part of it. There's a lot to grow here. And, obviously a lot of it is not going to be in the NHL level yet, but it'll be more enticing to pay attention to the Rockford Ice Hogs and the other teams that these prospects are on. I mean, Nazar was playing in college and you have some guys playing overseas. So you have kind of a mix of top prospects playing everywhere, whether it's here at the NHL level, the AHL, other leagues, college, NCAA. Following these prospects is going to be a lot of fun this year.
Yeah. And, you've got a metric poop ton of picks next year.
Yeah.
So we're not done.
It's and you have money to spend too.
You do. So I'm looking at the Blackhawks picks. So they've got money to spend, and where's their picks? 2024, they have Tampa's first round pick, their first round pick. They have the Kings second rounder, the Canucks second rounder, their second rounder, their third rounder, Ottawa's third rounder. So they got 2/3, 3 seconds, 2 firsts. So a lot of work still left to do, but just doing things right.
Kyle Davidson understands where we are and what we need to do.
100%. 100%.
You see a vision here. And he is taking emotion out of it. He was not afraid to say, Jonathan Tays, thank you for your service for not bringing back. He was not afraid to trade Patrick Kane. He was not afraid to sweep this all away.
I mean, that's, you have to make those decisions without emotion, and that's what he did. It's a lot of fans were like, well, let's bring back Kane one more year. If I had the opportunity to bring back Kane another year, I would be hard pressed to not do it. You're like, oh, well, he's done so much. It would be nice for him to, to have another contract with it and get to play with, Connor Bedard. But why? Why tie up that money? He's coming off of a serious injury and he's older. He's not going to be a useful player for you when you're competing for Stanley Cup next.
Right. You're being realistic about everything.
Yep. But
man, the Cubs are trailing more now. This is not looking good.
God, 5-2. Yeah, they can't come back from this.
Right now, no.
No.
A month ago, yes. Now, no.
Yeah, this is donezo. Well, I don't know. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think I've said my piece. Go Connor Bedard.
One last thing I'm going to say is I am fighting every urge of my meatball knee-jerk reaction to just start screaming, start Tyson Bagent.
Oh, don't worry. That stuff's already started.
Oh my God. The meatball knee-jerk. Like, see what we got in him.
See what you got in that agent guy.
You got the Bagent. You got him for no monies, and you could put him in there, eh? He start doing Canadian voices.
Yeah, what the hell was that?
I don't know. I have no idea. It just started coming out.
What?
This team's got me so riled up. I can't even do a Chicago accent.
Hey, my friends, Tyler Agent over there. I'm gonna give him a sausage, and we're gonna see how he plays.
Wait, the Tyler Bagents. You got to give it an S at the end.
Tyler Bagents. There you go. Good call. Good call. Good call.
That Tyler Bagents. He's got one heck of an arm on him. That's because he goes down to 38th and Pulaski and gets himself a sausage pizza from Home Run Inn.
You know what would actually be pretty amusing just to see the reaction? What if something happens with I don't want anything to happen to Justin Fields, but what if for some reason Tyler Bagent was active on the roster and he had to come in and he just was slinging the ball everywhere? Oh man, the debates would get so great.
There wouldn't be a debate. There would be a landslide because there's already the Justin Fields haters in the camps, in the Bears camp, like fans, and then all of those people that are on the fence, and then those people that are walking towards the fence. And if they see this guy come out and start slinging, everybody's going to just be hurtling over that fence to try to get to the Tyson Bagent side.
Yep.
There would be no debate. Everybody would be calling in. You know who would be defending Justin Fields? Mully and Haw.
Of course.
Wow, we're just going to be contrarian in the morning. Well, I think that's going to do it for this episode of Bill Swerski Sports Talk Chicago. I want to thank everybody so much for listening. Please hit subscribe however you listen to podcasts, whether it's iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, Google Play, Spotify, etc. Share this podcast with your friends. That would grow the show. Follow us on social media at Swerski Sports, Facebook.com/Swerski Sports, SwerskiSports.com, ShyFanPat2 for Alex on Twitter /X, or Alexander J. Crap. Alexander.
What did you call me?
The Canadian accent started coming out.
Yeah, okay.
AlexanderJPatCreative.com. It's just jumbled words in there. AlexanderJPatCreative.com for all the cool stuff that Alex does. And again, until next time, bear down.
Cubs win! What a lucky break! The good Lord wants the Cubs to win!
We thank Ditka and God for all they have provided.
Cubs win! Cubs win! Cubs win!
Oh, I don't want her. You can have her. She's a Packer fan. She can't fit in my van.
And she looks like Denver New Yorkers. Smoking crack is not legal on planes. Bears 31 to -7. The Bears!
Oh, when the Bears go bearing